Tasting like a boss. How you guys doing? I have Rolo Tomasi here. He's our oldest Chihuahua. Yes, he is. Can't really hear, can't really see. But look at that little face. Oh my God, dude. Oh, so sweet. And by sweet, what I mean is he doesn't like me or anyone except Boss of Boss, my wife. But he tolerates me because he senses that I'm a conveyance. He right now thinks he's probably being carried somehow to her, because that's really what I do. I feed you and take you to Boss of Boss, right? Okay, well, I wanted to have you here, buddy, because, oh, hey. I wanted to have you here, buddy, because we are doing our first ever single origin review from Bones Coffee Company. You guys know I review a lot of Bones coffee. If you haven't seen my reviews before, you can find virtually every flavor they have or have had. Not every single one, but pretty close to it, with either 3-way reviews or 4-way reviews. But as far as single origin goes, I guess technically maybe their Dragon's Lair and Breakfast Blend may be single origin because they're, or at least they're not flavored. But these are truly from their single origin series. And we're gonna do them back to back to back. And so what we're doing first is Sumatra. Why? Because I don't have a lot of experience with Sumatra beans. I really don't. I do love the artwork on this. You got the tigers there. You have the replication of the tigers on the side. And I also like that Bones puts a little additional information on the back here, okay? And so they say, hey, region, this can be Sumatra. Roast, dark. I'm a sucker for a dark roast. Notes, dark chocolate, earthy, smoky. Okay, this is like a winner for me. Great, great, great. Process, wet hold. Now, that caused me pause because, listen, I'm not a coffee expert. I drink a lot of coffee and I think I have some good opinions on it, but I'm not an expert in the process. So it forced me to do a little bit of research. And sometimes I think that's what's so awesome about being into coffee or hot sauce or for others, or music or whatever it is. Those little tiny niche things you like, if you expand beyond just your knowledge of the taste or what you like to hear, to learn a little more about history and stuff, you find out things that are just really interesting. So, what is wet hulling? Well, wet hold coffee is almost exclusively from Indonesia. And like the best inventions in the world, it's one because of necessity, okay? In that, in Indonesia, it is so humid there and there's so almost omnipresent cloud cover that it's really hard to dry the beans to the extent other people dry their beans before removing the parchment off the coffee. So what happens is that they bring in the fruit, the coffee berries, bring them in, they get the normal processing, but that still leaves them with that parchment on the outside. Typically, what would happen then is people would then dry them to about 10% or less, meaning 90% of the moisture or more will be removed from the beans before they then remove the parchment, right? But in Sumatra, in Indonesia, they can't do that. They can't do that because the beans just won't dry in time. So what they do is they do lay them out to dry after the processing, but they can only really dry them to remove 65 to 50 to 65% of the moisture, leaving 35 to 50% of the moisture. I'm going to put you down, okay? You seem anxious. Say a little goodbye. Goodbye. All right. We'll bring you back when you can. There you go. Go enjoy the day. All right. So they're very moist at that point. At that point, they put it through a machine, which can be kind of traumatic for the beans, and it removes the parchment. Then, after that's removed, they put it back out in the sun to dry it a little bit further, getting it sometimes to 10, 12% moisture being remaining. So that additional step creates a situation where the drying process happens in two stages, and a lot of moisture is then removed with the parchment gone. And some people believe that that's really what leaves the flavor of Sumatra coffee, that smokiness, that dark chocolate taste from that process. At the same time, keep in mind that you're going to have a change in the flavor just because of the soil you're in as well. But, they've been able to grab those beans, try to dry age them and everything else, and the flavor is different. So the wet hulling process is something that is unique to this coffee. Now, does it change the flavor a lot? I don't know. I, again, don't have a big experience. So we're going to do a 4-way review. We're going to be doing it in the cold brew for over 24 hours. And yes, we get the Bones mug. We're going to be doing it in drip. Yes, it's another Bones mug, Mudslide Boogie, one of their name for Christmas flavors. I actually like that one a lot. Then we're going to be doing it in espresso. And then finally, we're going to be doing it in the nitro press, which is just cold brew coffee with nitrogen infused. That's it, okay? So let's get to the scent of the coffee, if we will. It smells really good. Doesn't smell tobacco-y, but it smells smoky. That makes sense. So if you were to sniff it, you get coffee and smokiness, but not necessarily that tobacco cigar kind of smell that you sometimes get. So, okay, that's a nice scent. Hey, Crow, I hear you, I hear you. Okay, let's get down to the tasting. So now we got it in the cold brew here. It actually has a little bit of scent coming off the cold brew, which is, you know, kind of atypical. Most cold brews don't have much of a scent unless they're flavored. Tasting like a boss. I really like that. I really do like that a lot. There's definitely a difference. Now keep in mind, I'm just now coming off of that Monomyth holiday blend, which I really liked. And it was very fudgy. This is more dark chocolate, and there's smoke to it as well. Now, is it the smokiest flavored coffee or tasting coffee that I've ever had? No, it's not. I forget, I'd have to go back and find out what it is. But this, what I respect about it is the dark chocolate notes, the smokiness, and yet it isn't overly earthy. I thought it was gonna be very bitter, very drying. So there's a little bit of that. It's not overbearing at all. Remarkably smooth and different. But fruit notes, no fruit notes at all. You're dealing with a coffee here with absolutely no fruit notes, but not overly earthy. So that's kind of neat. All right, so that's the cold brew. Let's move to the drip, which I know is the way most of you probably drink your coffee. There we go. Now, the scent on this is very pronounced and it's very unique. You get that coffee scent, but it doesn't smell the way I thought it would. I thought it would smell very earthy. And what I'm detecting is I'm detecting smoke, but I'm actually detecting sort of a pecan flavor where I would think that this flavor would actually be bright tasting, which doesn't make any sense given the type of coffee it is and the fact it's a dark roast. But here, let's give it a shot. Tasting like a boss. No bright notes. Whoa. Okay. That is really good. Man, this is two coffees in a row. The Monomyth and this were, you know, I said Monomyth, I like the cold brew more, and I did, but I really like the drip. This, I'm really, really digging the drip on this. That's exceptional. I mean, really good. What can I compare it to? Okay, Chapin coffees. Big fan of Chapin coffees. These Guatemalan beans, for the most part. And they're so even, they're so smooth and so good, but deliberate. This here, that dark chocolate is very much there, but that smokiness is much more enhanced here on the drip than it was in the cold brew. And yet it doesn't become something that is overly earthy. It's a very good experience. It takes you through a trip on your taste buds. It really does. As you take it in, there's that sweetness. And then the chocolate pull up and a nice finish with the smoke. But just a very nice, very good cup of coffee. So I don't know, I think I like the drip more than the cold brew in this situation, but I still like the cold brew a lot. So let's move to the espresso now. Listen, dark roast coffee does better typically, right? And the espresso thing, remember these beans aren't necessarily made for all these formats. I'm just doing it because I'm crazy and I really want to experience the bean. But here we have it in espresso. Scent off of this is very chocolatey. Not, in fact, sweeter chocolate. Almost smells like not a milk chocolate, but somewhere between milk and dark chocolate. Tasting like a boss. Whoa, that is dark chocolate and smoke, man. That is boom right there. That is really, really good. I would make that just for espresso. I know it's not espresso, but yeah, that's quality right there. Okay. So trifecta achieved by Bones on its single source Sumatra. So I guess I'm a Sumatra coffee fan. But let's go to the Nitro Press. We already know it's good in the cold brew. Of the three formats, I think it's my least favorite. I think I go with the espresso, the drip, and the cold brew, but they're all A's. So now let's do it in the Nitro Press. Let's see if it adds a little something to it. Okay, we're going to dispense into the Bones cup. Look at that beautiful nitrogen, velvety curtains of nitrogen. Look at that awesomeness. As a side-by-side comparison, there you go. Nothing but nitrogen there, no cream, no sugar, nothing like that. All right, let's let this separate just a little bit. Look at the beauty of that. So nice. So nice. While that's diffusing, I like to give it about 30 seconds. You know, hopefully your New Year's being great to you right now. We got a nice day ahead of us. I know we got work on the horizon, but I promise to try to do one of these a week. I may try to do a couple ahead and release them maybe every Saturday until, you know, these are done. Of course, I've said that before and I fail, so don't feel bad. I'm not trying to fail you. I'm failing myself, right? All right, here we go. We have it in the Nitro Press. Let's do the side-by-side again of the taste. Go back to what the cold brew is like. A very good cold brew, but when compared to the others, the flavor is rather muted compared to the others. So it's not my favorite of the three formats. Here's the Nitro Press. Interesting. The nitrogen kind of takes the chocolate notes and converts it to vanilla notes. I would not think these are the two same coffees at all. They're so drastically different. One is chocolate and smoky. This one here, very much vanilla. With a hint of smoke. So, all right, in the order of the way I would have them. One, if you're gonna get it, you gotta at least try it at least once in espresso. I think this is my number one fan, or that's my number one version of the day. Second, gonna go with the drip. Okay, that's a really good cup of drip. Third, I'm gonna go with this bad boy here because it's so different. The vanilla with the smoke. I don't know why that happens, but very tasty. And then finally on the drip. But each one of them, bam, 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 bam. All A's. Just some are more of an A plus than just an A. So good, you picked, I guess, was it not the trifecta? The quadfecta? Is that what you call it? I even know. Who even knows? Anyway, until next time, people, hit like, subscribe, share, and alerts. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. We're getting close to 900 subscribers, which is crazy to me, and I just thank you for being a part of it. Go back and watch some of the other reviews if you want to, and leave your comments below about your thoughts on Sumatra coffee if you have any. We have the other ones coming up ahead, and I'm excited about those as well. Hopefully you are as well. Until next time, people, from the Chihuahuas, the daughters, and Boss of Boss, and myself, keep tasting like a boss. Thanks so much.